You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Union 0430 podcast. This is episode 193. And if you've just seen this is weird because we're recording on Thursday. The show is going to drop on Monday, but I just done a social media post talking about how excited I am about doing this show because we've got Brook Richard from Momarsh, Higdon, Power Calls. Jesus, there's a hockey sock full of companies right here. So we've got Brook on with us tonight. So I'm super excited about this. This has been a long time coming. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, we've got Craig, Mark, and Phil are busy tonight as normal with the summertime. They are really busy. So you got us two degenerates with the man himself, Brook Richard. Thanks, buddy, for coming on. I really do appreciate it because, dude, you have probably some of the biggest news coming in a couple weeks with a new child. So thanks for carving some time.
Yep. And just for your listeners who are from the Great White North, I'm actually French. I'm from South Louisiana, and the last name's Richard. So your folks will love that. And I played hockey for the U.S. Junior Olympic team.
Did you
One
really?
of the last ones to win a gold medal. Yep, I did. So Canadian folks, you're in good hands. You're all good.
Dude, you are my favorite guest of all time, right off the bat. Dude, that's amazing. You played junior Olympic level hockey.
Yeah, and then quit immediately after that. But everyone always asks, Brooke, why did you play hockey? And then I tell them, look, when you grow up in Lafayette, Louisiana, if anybody listening's ever been there and you've ever been outside while you're there, and then all of a sudden they build an ice rink indoors, forget baseball, forget football.
Yeah,
all that goes out of the window, So how'd I end up playing hockey? It's because it was inside and it wasn't 200 degrees in the shade.
Yeah.
And, the reason I quit, I'll make it quick.
No,
I was really coordinated as a young kid and everyone was my size. And then right about 13, a thing happens in young men. Yeah. And everyone grows up and everyone was bigger than me and it hurt. So I said, you guys can have this. I'm going to play baseball.
So, what position did you play?
In hockey?
Yeah.
Center. Yeah, just
forward, dude.
Ripping.
Wow.
I've got videos. I'll send some to you if you want to cut away after the fact of me like 12 years old. I'm like literally this big and everyone's this big. And I just steal puck, go net, rip it.
And I had a good buddy when I was still serving in the Army. He grew up playing in the Toronto Minor Hockey League, right? So a really competitive league. So one day I was just chatting about guys that were in the NHL and stuff like this. And I was throwing out names like Corey Perry and Robbie Shrimp and these guys. And he was like, yeah, man, those guys were animals when they were teenagers. I was like, oh, did you play with? He said, oh, I grew up with those guys, played hockey with them all up through. And I was like, really? And this guy, Kevin, was an amazing hockey player too. And I was like, what happened? He said, at 15, he said, we showed up for summer hockey. I didn't grow. And those guys were men. And I was like, really? He said, Corey Perry was a man at 15 years old. Like, no joke. He was just a man. He said, I couldn't compete with those guys anymore.
No, heck no. And that's the cool thing about duck calling and, duck hunting is, size really doesn't matter outside of decoy spread and, who your buddies are. You can be, I don't think I'm little, but I'm 155 pounds soaking wet, 5'11" on a good day when I'm wearing cowboy boots, but that doesn't cut it in NHL hockey. So no. I'm glad I switched professions.
Yeah. And then transferred over to baseball. How far did you go playing baseball? Did you go to college on ball?
I had some offers, but my sophomore year, actually, me and one of the guys, after we were in baseball PE in high school, dumping clippings off the infield behind center field, and they just built a subdivision. We're dumping the clippings into the ditch, or as we called it, a
Yeah.
coulee, because I'm a Cajun.
Yeah.
And he tripped and fell, and they had broke up a slab, and a piece of rebar went through my left knee.
Oh.
And I've got a really cool scar. I pierced my left knee, didn't walk for 6 months. And that's honestly whenever I gravitated towards hunting. I didn't grow up duck hunting, grew up deer hunting, couldn't do anything. Right. And then, when you're a sophomore and you have a driver's license in high school, baseball and chasing women and, being cool is everything. But it was honestly the best thing that ever happened to me. That happened. It ended my baseball career. And, I got a lot of really good doctor's excuses that opened up doors for me to go hunting whenever I wanted to during school. You go. So I started chasing ducks, kept deer hunting, started bow hunting. And that's really kind of why I'm here is, sports amazing. Are not for me. I like sports, and I'm on my best day average, and
hey, dude, you were playing at a high level, a higher level than I ever could have dreamed of playing. So so good for you. I am a firm believer, and I think, Craig, you and I have talked about this in the past. I am a firm believer that you are exactly where you're meant to be at this moment in time. Every little minuscule decision that you've made up to this point has got you to where you are, and that is exactly where you're supposed to be in life. And I honestly do believe that.
As do I. It's interesting, whenever you're 13 and you start playing and you're traveling around playing travel hockey and you're doing this stuff and you get picked up for this select team, and all of a sudden you're getting phone calls and you're getting offered as a kid from South Louisiana to move to Montreal, Toronto to go play, junior level hockey. And there's like, man, we're going to give you a high school scholarship.
Yep.
Next year, move here, move to Canada, come play hockey all through high school, through our development program. You're going to live here. And my mom was fully supportive, and so was my dad. And I'm like, why would I do that? If I'd have known there was that many ducks in Canada at that time, I'd still be playing hockey. I'd have no teeth, getting my butt whooped. I'd be the water boy just to live in Canada as a resident, get to hunt the waterfowl you guys do. Hindsight's 2020 though, but
buddy. Now you would have would have had to have went out west, because Ontario is not the duck hunting that it is out west in that prairie pothole region. But hey, nonetheless, but it's really cool, because you touched on something, and again, I'll talk about, we had Brad Marlowe on the show, and Brad's from his folks are from Louisiana, right? His family's from Louisiana, so the same thing when he come on, I was like, how do you pronounce your name? Because up here we would say Marlowe. And he was like, yeah, no, that's exactly right. He said, because I'm from Louisiana and I've got French and, French Canadian and stuff. And I told the story. There's a gentleman down in the States. I forget the name of his company, but it's one of these new like motion decoy companies. I forget what it's called. Quick Coys, I think is what it's called.
Quick Coys, yeah.
So his last name, I would call it Beauchamp, but he pronounces it Beecham because he's been down in the States so long. He didn't, they obviously hasn't kept the French pronunciation, right? So when I heard that the first time, I was like, it's not Beecham. It's Beauchamp, dude. It's Beauchamp. That's awesome.
Yeah. When Brooke was saying that, I'm like, why does this story sound familiar? And it's like, oh yeah, it was from one other.
No, absolutely. But growing up, like I know you said you didn't grow up duck hunting, you were deer and the whole bit, but like Lafayette, Louisiana, you must have had some great hunting down there for ducks too.
Yeah, we did, but I grew up on second base. When you look at the big scheme of things, my family is like middle class. My grandfather was well off. My mom worked hard. My dad worked hard. We didn't have money to be duck hunters. Right. Whenever I grew up, I'll be 33 in this August. And, when I started duck hunting, I went, and whenever I was 12, my dad's best friend was a dentist and had money and had an awesome lease in Cameron Parish, Southwest Louisiana in the marsh. And we went and I shot my first duck, and it was a mallard drake. And then, really outside of stuff like that, we were poor kids. We were middle
Yeah.
class, and we couldn't pay to lease a pit in Gaydon, Louisiana. We couldn't pay the farmer to pump our rice field. So we spec hunted. That's what we did. We chased specs around, and it made me a better duck caller, maybe a better duck hunter, because it was a game of chess. It was, well, we don't have water. The ducks aren't living here. So from go, outside of the quote unquote, privilege card of going get to hunt with my dad and his buddies or my grandfather or whoever that, had money and had resources. Whenever it came to like when I became a duck hunter, 13, 14, and I was going with buddies who were older who liked to duck hunt. I mean, we were just poor white kids just trying to get in the middle of a rice field where birds flew over. So, I credit a lot of my struggle to having to run traffic from day one, chasing specs. If you can learn the hard part first, the easy part's easy. Whenever you get to hunt where they are, it's easy. But the hunting was great down there then. Things have changed drastically. My wife and I moved here to Paducah, Kentucky, where Higdon's located in 2016. Higdon offered me the job, and I came to her and I said, "Hey, I've got offered this job. It's my dream job." And she said, "When are we moving?" And I said, "Next week."
Awesome.
And she picked up, and we moved. Been here ever since. And the hunting's a lot better here than it is in Louisiana now.
Really,
100%. God bless. It's so good. We're right here at the confluence of the Ohio River and Mississippi River.
Oh, okay.
Like Boot Heel, Missouri, Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Western Tennessee, Northeast Arkansas. Like we're at the spot. Like we're not necessarily where all the birds are coming at any one time, but they're flying over us constantly. Warm front, cool front. If they're south of us, as soon as it thaws, they're bumping back up, and we got them. If they're north of us, we're one cold front away from checkmate. So
that's amazing. And and I'm always weary when I come on the show and I say, this is the way that it should be done and stuff, because I don't want to piss somebody off and someone get their feelings hurt and the whole bit. But if you look back and even look at, you look at some of the biggest names that's in the industry right now. And I think, honestly, you could probably say 95%, maybe even a little bit more, have all started the same way that you did, right? Middle class, didn't get raised on a private blind or in a duck club or anything like that, scraped, plastic bags in your boots so your feet stayed dry. That old canvas jacket that you got handed down from your dad, all that stuff. And that's what I think, that's what the lure of, or I shouldn't say the lure, but I think that's what keeps, like, once you shoot that first bird and just the work and the up closeness to chasing birds, I think that's what it is that just solidifies that hook in your mouth, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
With waterfowling too, it's just like the level of how much you'll make do with absolutely anything.
Yeah.
For the sake of getting out there, right?
Yeah. How many of us, I know, how many of us had, nuts and bolts tied to your string on your decoys? Like, no fucking rigs. Nobody had
brakes.
No. You guys had nuts and bolts? That's impressive. We just chased them around after the hunt.
Well,
I'll show my
old combination locks and everything that were decoy anchors, like, because you forgot the combination, so you couldn't open them anymore anyway. So tied a decoy to
them. I've got a couple really good stories that you guys will enjoy, but I'll start with this one. I'm a Cajun. I'm not gonna lie. Call me a coon ass. My last name's Richard. I was raised south of I-10. Whatever you say to me doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I am who I am, and I'm proud of it. Very proud of it. I was working at my uncle's crawfish restaurant in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I was boiling crawfish. I'm 13, 14, saving up money to buy my first truck, and this gun shop was opening up across the street. It was called Buck Fins and Feathers in Broussard, Louisiana. And one of my cousins got offered a job there, and the owner was from, his hometown or whatever down the road, or as they say, down the bayou. And I'm like, Adam, get my foot in the door. I want to work there too. I can do both. I've got box schedule. I can go work at the gun store, like the hunting store, and it'll be cool. I'll get some discounts and all this. So I started working there at 15 or 14. It was called Buckfins and Feathers. I was managing my uncle's crawfish restaurant at this time. It's called LT Seafood. It's still in business. And I was selling guns from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. whenever they closed. I would literally change my clothes, walk across the street, and go boil crawfish for 6 hours. And after about a year of that, one day, the owner, Kelly Newville, that owned Buckfins and Feathers, said, Brooke, we're out of these duck calls. Would you mind calling Buck Gardner and order some more, duck calls?
Wow.
Oh, sure, whatever. I don't care. Picked up the phone, called. Buck answered, hey, what's going on? And I talked to him, and we talked for 30 minutes, and no big deal. He's like, man, if you don't mind, what's your phone number? I'd love to keep in touch with you. He's like, you sound really good. Send me a video of you blowing a duck call. So I did. And from that day forward, I talked to Buck Gardner for at least 30 minutes every other day for 3 years. Buck Gardner put me under his wing, said, you're going to be the poster child of, what we need. Like, I would love to teach you how to blow in, Main Street calling contest. We'll make calls for you, whatever you need, call me. And he did. I've got a tattoo on my lip.
What?
That says Quack.
That's
Buck
awesome.
paid me to do it at 16 years old for a billboard. When they opened the Bass Pro Pyramid, they put me on a billboard for the Bass Pro Pyramid in Memphis. It was a Buck Gardner ad that they ran right by the pyramid off the interstate. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'll do that. It's the only tattoo I've got. But I can send you the picture. It's me holding up a bunch of ducks, and I've got Quack in my lip. And, Buck really got me into this industry, but, it never really stopped there. I did all that, traveled all over the place. I'm just a guy who doesn't know how to not work hard. So everything was just to save up enough money to go duck hunt, or save up enough money to do something different and be able to go to Arkansas and go hunt, or be able to go visit Buck and go to this next calling contest. And, I had some early success in contest calling, and all that was wonderful. But really, it's the people you meet along the way. That relationship with Buck, which him and I still talk today. I could call him right now and tell him I have a flat tire on the side of the road in Nevada, and he'd be there as soon as he could. But that led to meeting some of the best people I could ever meet. Charles Petty, Butch Richenbach. Butch put me under his wing, I don't know, around 19, 20 years old. And I would stay at Butch's house. Butch was my buddy. That led to me meeting Jim Ronquest. Me and Jim Ronquest are one of my best friends. I talk to Jimbo at least once a week. And if we need anything, we call each other and we're there. And it has nothing to do with the industry we're in, what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just good people. And, I'm blessed. Like you said earlier, you're always right where you need to be.
Yeah.
I'd have to be an idiot to not be where I am today. And not because of anything I've done. All I did was work hard and be a sponge. The people that were given to me in random weird opportunities, there's no way I'd be here if it wasn't for pure luck. Just meeting the right people at the right time, at the right point in my life, and me seeing enough value in it to grab it and learn something from other people. There's so much to learn from everybody. That is why I'm sitting here right now. It's not because I'm better than anybody. You got 2 lips, lungs, and some work ethic. You can be the best duck caller. You can be a world champion duck caller like me. That's not a problem. But if you work hard and you're respectful, and a little piece of luck comes across your plate, like a random coon ass in Broussard, Louisiana, working at his uncle's crawfish restaurant, who gets a part-time job at a gun shop across the street that's 600 square feet, gets asked to call Buck Gardner,
has led to this.
20 years later, I don't know. I don't know if it was luck or what, but
you saw those little weird chances, eh?
Yeah, it's what you grab, and in life, it's not, everybody always focuses on the bad stuff. And there's so much bad stuff to be focused on, but like, we can have bad stuff, but like the one good thing that you're attracted to, if you really like that, you'll find a way to make it work. I get asked all the time, like, man, how do I get where you are? I'm like, I have no idea. Be really lucky, be respectful, and it has nothing to do with how many trophies you've won or how many ducks you kill. It's just, I don't know, be likable and be yourself. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. If you're who you are and that works, it'll eventually work out. It'll work.
No, and you're absolutely right. And the one important theme And for anybody that's been listening so far, the one important theme that you keep throwing out is work. You got to be able to work. Like, you can get handed,
Yeah.
You can meet whoever in your life, but if you don't put the work in and grab it by the horns and do your bit,
Yeah.
then it's a wasted opportunity. It
For
really
sure.
is. And it's funny. I had a phone call from a friend of mine, and by no means am I and I am nowhere near an expert on running a business or anything like that. But it was a friend of mine, and he had called me up yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, listen, do you have any advice? Can you help me out and then give me some introductions?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." So I introduced him to a couple fellows that I think could help him out and stuff like that. And I had said to him, I was like, "So you're pretty much doing this by yourself now? Like, when you started, like, there was a freaking crew of you guys." And he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "But those guys expected it to happen overnight." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You got to manage your expectation. Like, just Punisher Waterfowl. Like, it's been 10 years. Like, I'm 10 years doing it, and I'm only where I am now. This isn't a great big business or anything, and it's been 10 years, and it's been 10 years of a lot of failures. But again, similar to you, been very lucky in some of the people that I've met that have said, "Hey, listen, maybe you should try this, or maybe do this." And has it all worked perfectly? No, but it's all learning, it's mistakes, and you just keep grinding away, man. And that's the secret. You could get introduced, and all the luck can fall on your lap, but if you're not willing to grind, it's just not going to come through for you.
Yeah, I was really, you guys may know this guy or this company, or you may not, but I got a really cool phone call uh, either Monday or Tuesday this week from a good buddy of mine who I've known for a long time before him or I found success. His name's Ricky Nicholas from 24/7 Hunt. He's
Yep.
from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me, and we keep in touch, and we have mutual respect for each other. We have nothing contractual, we're just buddies. We're just friends. And he called and he said, "Man, it's been so long since I've called you, and I know you guys are expecting, and like, I'm so proud of you. I've got a girl, and what do you need? Like, man, you got a registry or anything?" And I said, "Ricky, we're blessed, man. We need a lot of stuff, but like, I would never ask you of anything. And if there's anything I can give you, just be my buddy,
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, there's no doubt about that." And we shared some stories, and he's going through some hard times right now with health problems with someone in his family. And that's all I'll say.
Yep.
And, I told him, and, we were talking about, the process that my wife and I went through to get pregnant. We had miscarriages, and it was tough, and you deal with it. And before he even spoke about anything that was going on in his life, he said, "Man, isn't it funny? You look up, and duck hunters in general and hunters in general, it's not about if we're going to do it, it's how we're going to do it. We always find a way to get it done." And I said, "Man, you're right. I never once in my life, if there was something I wanted, and I'm not talking about a 300-foot mega yacht parked next to Jeff Bezos, as it was, if there was something in my life that I truly valued, I never once considered, man, that's going to take hard work or anything. It was, let's go start.
Yeah.
Let's go do it." You get punched in the chin, you get a black eye, you fall on your face, but hunters don't give up. And that's whenever Ricky, told me what he had going on. And I'm like, "Man, we'll pray for you." And he's like, "Man, it's good now. Everything's fine." And he's like, "I've just been going through a tough time dealing with this, but honestly, hunting is why I'm able to deal with it, is because that's duck hunting. It's a game of failure. Life is a game of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you do in life is it's like baseball. If you're batting 500, you're making 100 million a year, and that's half the time you're successful. That's the best odds. And I mean, you fail, you get kicked in your teeth, but you learn something, and you focus on the end goal. It doesn't matter if you lose 99 times, if you win once, that's all that matters.
That's
and,
right.
And it's so respectful, and coming from him, and we don't push business on each other. And I never, force his hand on doing anything, and he never tries to force his hand on mine. But just a good guy, and he's a hunter. He's been through a lot of the things I've been through. And we all have our hard times, whether it's not having good duck hunts or anything, just health problems or, fertility issues. It doesn't matter. You don't focus on the negative, you focus on the positive, and you walk the right direction. Does not matter. You grind. And duck hunters in general, and not just duck hunters, deer hunters, big game hunters, especially your elk guys and moose guys, like if you lose 99 times, as long as you win one, it's still a win. So what are we all upset about? You just go and you grind and you win, and that's what really matters. And if you're focused on the end goal, bad stuff happens along the way, but you still win. So why be negative or why be upset? And it was really, really cool.
And the victory, again, that common nature of making it happen. It's not gonna happen with the work, right?
And if it were easy, why the hell would we be doing it? Like if every time I went out and hunted in a Walmart parking lot, I could shoot 99 mallard drakes in 30 minutes. Like, would I really want to go duck hunting tomorrow? No, heck no. Let's go shoot pigeons.
Yeah,
and that's fun too. Nothing against you pigeon guys. I know everybody's got a place, but I like shooting pigeons. Well, not knocking it, but failure is what makes it cool. If it were easy every time, whether it's live or duck hunting, like why would we even be excited to wake up in the morning, put your pants on, throw your waders on, throw decoys over your shoulder, and go try to not lose? Like, trying not to lose is what makes it fun.
Well, that's what makes
the contrast too, right? It's like, if everything's great all the time, you don't really, you don't have that appreciation, you don't notice it because it's just the same all the time.
Yeah, that's what makes the victory. That's what makes the victory that much more sweeter, right?
Yeah, like Damien, like you said earlier, like managing your expectations. Like the expectation, hunters in general set that bar high, especially in the age of social media and everything. Like, everybody wants the tailgate pic. And look, I'm right there with you. If I go have a banger, we're posting a pic somewhere. It may not be on my page or Higdon's page or Power Calls or Momarsh, but someone's going to take a picture and I'm going to be proud to be in it. But really, the expectation is, like, if we know it's good, we hope it's good. But every day we wake up and put our britches on, whether you've got 5 camera guys and personalities and TV, we are just as human and just as susceptible to failure as anybody else. And that's just part of it. Whenever that happens, we might be upset, and it might have cost 50 grand for 6 hours of that whole thing to happen. But it's part of it. It's calculated risk. Our expectations are, I hope it works out and hope we have fun, and whenever we fail, we still wake up the next morning thinking we're going to go shoot 99 of them and have that picture. You know what? And that's what we're going for. It's not an option of if we're going to do it. It's just when, just time. We're going to make it happen.
When a common thing you hear, and I hear it a lot, and I work, or Punisher Waterfowl works in this social media world, right? Where we utilize YouTube, and we use this podcast, and we do our posts on Instagram and social media. We're very social media dependent with this brand, right? And you hear you hear it a lot, right? Like, social media has ruined hunting, and it's ruined this, and it's ruined that, and there's some negativity coming, but that negativity was always there. It's just now we see it a little bit more because we're just more it's more reachable to see that. But one thing, and Brook, you coming on and for the last 10-15 minutes since we've hit the record button, it's been nothing but positive that's been coming out of your mouth, right? That's what you've been spewing is positivity. And I hope, and I someday this would be the epitome of success for me, as I hope someday I'm at Baton Rouge at Duck Expo or friggin' wherever, and some kid comes up to me and says, "You know what? I listened to your episode with Brook Richard, and he was just talking about how hard work it was, and you just had to keep getting up every morning and going, and it's not going to happen overnight, but if you keep working hard, then your chances of succeeding are that much better." Like, what I'm getting at is that social media and these platforms now, I think we're setting a bar now where we can tell these people, these kids, and not just kids, adults, whenever it is that they want to dip their toes into starting a business or starting a brand or whatever it is. Here's some real life answers, because and go back to the days of the DVDs, right? When the DVDs were all the rage and all you just seen was just birds falling from the sky. Nobody ever talked about all the work that went in and all the failed hunts that they done, because there are a lot of failed hunts. There's a lot of hunts that don't work out. To get that 60 minutes of footage, there's a lot of hunts that don't work out. And now you have, and it's not just, the Punisher Waterfowl podcast. There's 100 podcasts out there. And I think you're hearing a lot of this where, listen, it's not easy. It takes time and it takes work in order to grow.
Yep. You know how you day and never have a bad day?
Yeah.
When you go to sleep at night and dream, I'm blessed to be in the spot I'm in. And I know a lot of people in a lot of places who have the best duck farms, and not to bring up names, but you still fail. You never go every day and shoot them. Like I said earlier, if it were that easy, we'd quit. Like, why would you even go? And I'm a world champion caller. I work for one of the world's largest decoy companies. If you called me tomorrow and said, man, I bet we can't kill birds in this field. I've never seen a bird fly over it, but one farm over, they kill whatever a year. I'd say, what do you want? Yeah. Bring 15,000 dozen decoys. We'll set them up of the best hide, and we still couldn't guarantee that we would shoot them.
Nope.
And it doesn't matter. You got to hunt the hunt you have every single day. And I get asked frequently. I did a podcast with DU the other day, and it was like, what's your favorite hunt, or where do you want to go next? And honestly, the answer is a place I've never been, with people who could teach me things. Like, that's what I want to do. I don't care if we shoot 600, 6, or 1 coot. I want to go somewhere and just learn something and take that to be able to go teach somebody. I'm not perfect. Like, I don't. The only time I want to make sure we shoot one thing is when I take my dog with me. Just because if he's going to sit out here with me on a piss poor hunt, I at least want to give him something to do. That's the only time I truly feel bad. And there's a lot of days where I go and shoot nothing. I don't hunt a lot as much as I used to, whenever I was guiding and everything. But, we go and we have bad hunts. What you see on TV, Star Wars was filmed in space. Like, you see us having a good hunt.
Yeah.
Helen Keller and Ray Charles could have had a good hunt. And honestly, a lot of that is picking our battles, scouting, and knowing what to do, just being good hunters. And I give a lot of credit to Kelly Powers, Bo Brooks, myself, and the people we hunt with, and the outfitters that we choose to hunt with when we hunt with outfitters, which is rare. There's a reason we do that. It's because it's all a calculated risk. It's minimizing risk, but the risk is never going to go away. You can go to the best place. Ira McCauley founded Momarsh. We bought Momarsh from Ira.
Yep.
Brought it under Higdon. Last year I hunted with Ira, or on Ira's property on his private farm just down the road from Habitat Flats, 24 days. It was not easy. We had a period where we went and filmed for 5 days for Higdon Outdoors TV. And then there was like 6 days in between whenever DUTV was coming to film with Ira and I for a DUTV episode that's going to come out this fall. And Ira had to go back home for one of his elderly neighbors' birthday parties. It was awful. The hunting was terrible. I hunted with Ira's older brother, Aaron, and Blake Boland and his wife. And it was just us four. We were just hanging out. And it was, where do we go to hunt? They manage their private property so well. Half of it is a refuge and they won't touch it. We went out. They've got all the money, all the land. They're major owners of Habitat Flats. And like, well, let's just go over here and see if we can shoot 2. It was the most fun I've had in so long. Just go, man, if we can shoot 1 here, how cool would that be? But we're not going to go bust a refuge. We're not going to do it. It's just being responsible, being respectful, knowing that it's not always about killing all of them. That's not what we're in it for. And just go and have a good time with good people. And I hadn't really hunted with these folks, but hell, I was there and I wasn't going to drive 8 hours back to Paducah from Sumner, Missouri.
Yeah.
Just to sit at home for 2 days and drive, 8 hours back to welcome the TV crew. And we had some good hunts. We did. They were not great. But the hard things make the fun things fun, period. And it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. But if you ever think that failure is not an option, you've already lost. And social media has, in my opinion, not destroyed hunting, but that's what everyone's aiming for. You're not cool unless you shoot all these. You're not cool unless you wear this. You're not cool unless you do that.
Yeah.
The hell with those people. I don't care if you're 4 or 48 listening to this podcast. You're cool no matter what you do. Quit trying to be like everybody else. Go and be your own person and have fun. Your expectation should be what makes you happy. Forget about anybody else. Throw that out of the window. Don't care. I hope people don't think I kill ducks. I hope whenever I knock on somebody's door asking for permission in a random field in Canada from a farmer, that he has no idea who we are, what we're about to do. I don't want people to think that we're killers. I don't want people to think that, we just kill ducks every time we go, because that's not real. But social media makes it look that way.
Yeah.
For everybody. And you got to post your failures. I understand people don't want to be human because they want to be like the next guy, but that's what makes it cool. Like, that's the whole other half of it is what you learned along the way. It's cool to not kill ducks every day.
Yeah.
As long as you're safe, you had fun, you weren't behind a desk making a spreadsheet, go have fun.
Or in a field looking at potatoes, Craig?
Oh, don't get me started.
I have taken more sunrise pictures than anyone listening to this podcast. Guarantee it. And I love them. I will take one the next time I hunt.
It's like you had brought it up before, Damien. I think maybe when you were talking to Rusty the one time, talking about social media and putting the pictures out there and kind of more sharing the information that goes along with it. Like, it's great to put a picture out there, but the info that goes along with it.
Tell me the story tell me the story. Like, the picture is great. The picture of the pile of ducks is great, but tell me the story of how you got to those ducks. That's
for me, like, my favorite, I think still one of my favorite pictures on Instagram or Facebook. I think I had it on Instagram. Was, I've lived in this town that I'm in now for about 16 plus years now. And every year driving, knocking on doors, and still to date, I've gotten permission on 3 private properties.
Yeah.
And so the very first one I ever got, I went out and it's a 700-meter walk out, like a walk-in only kind of place. And I had a dozen old shell type decoys in a tote that I had to take out in a game cart, hauling all this out there. And basically you have one chance because all the geese come into this field at once, or it's like, 200 birds will come in, and then obviously whatever you don't shoot goes and lands at the other end of the field and just keeps bringing in the rest of the birds. But it's like first permission I got, first hunt in it, I pulled one bird out of it that day. And so I actually took the picture of one goose on the tailgate when it was like something like hashtag one bird pile or something like that.
Yeah.
But so like I told the story. It's like, it's first permission I got, first hunt in it, first goose out of it. And it's still my favorite picture, right? And even last year.
Yeah, but Craig, not to cut you off, but if hindsight's 2020, but in that instance, on the topic of what we're talking about, if you could do anything different in that field on that day, would all the decoys in the world, the best blinds, the best calls, the best callers, would it have changed your hunt?
No.
Exactly. So like all these people chasing the clout and everything, like you can do whatever you want, but you learn something, and you shot a bird. That's awesome. You went, you did it, you learned something, and all the money, all the product, all the talent in the world maybe could have changed it, but it wouldn't have taken a bad hunt to the best hunt ever. It'd have taken a bad hunt to a below average hunt, or a below average hunt to an average hunt. But you learn something, and that knowledge that you gain on that hunt and your ability to be human and learn from that, instead of blaming it on something else like decoys or money or who was with you or how you didn't practice during the off season, that made you more successful on your next hunt. I'd be willing to bet way more than anything else would have.
I know Bobby Hayes, and Bobby is a friend of mine and somebody that I talk to,
talking regularly. About bad hunters, goodness gracious, God.
So
don't hunt with.
so a prime example, right? So Bobby, so I'll talk to Bobby probably once, maybe twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But once duck season's on, I go 3 months. I do not hear from that man at all. I can send him messages. I could try to call him, everything. And Bobby is a fucking killer. Like his crew are killer. Like they are very established and accomplished duck hunters. And the amount of work that they put in to every day, and there's a lot of days when they have some pretty bad hunts. But the amount of work that those guys have to put in to have good hunts, numbers wise, all hunts are good. But numbers wise, like it is crazy, man. And that's the thing. And I think it's important, Brooke, for you. So guys like you and guys like Jeff Coates, who's a friend of mine, and Bobby Hayes.
Heck yeah.
Right? Like these guys.
I love Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff is wicked. That's what, and I don't want to use the word responsible, but I or expected or whatever. But when you, Bobby Hayes, Jeff Coates, Sean Stahl, when those guys come on my show, come on this show, I should say, when they come on this show and they say exactly the same thing that you're saying, that's exactly what a 15-year-old kid or somebody that is new to this passion, that's exactly what they need to hear. They need to hear that, hey, listen, there's going to be days where you're going to come home with nothing.
Yep. And it's
get up the next morning and go again.
Even in the best area on earth, and I'll use Ira McCauley as an example. He's, a huge owner of Habitat Flats. He's a very successful guy, and he's not far from Bobby. You can be in the best area ever. You look at Ira's Instagram story a month ago, 2 months ago, a month from now, he's hand spreading millet. He's, literally working his ass off. I was born with half an ass, so I'm not about to half-ass a duck hunt, But if these younger people or even the older people who just have these super high expectations knew what went in to making a good duck call or making a good duck farm or managing pressure, having enough self-control to rest half your property, whether it's ducks or whitetail, the reason big deer are killed is because people have self-control and they work hard. The people that shoot a lot of ducks like Bobby and Ira, I could rattle off a million names in many states, but you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg if you're paying attention to their piles.
Yeah.
And people who have those expectations or want to be that person, if it was, man, you can do it, it's easy. All you got to do is all these things that these guys did 300 days out of the year that you didn't see, they would never do it. But they don't see it. They don't understand it. And it's okay. It takes so much, and it's a lifetime of education and a dedication to, it's not just about killing stuff. But the one thing that those guys all have in common is their respect for the game, their respect for the youth, their respect for the resource being waterfowl. And their expectation is not, we're going to go kill them. I show up to hunt with Ira, and he's got 60,000 ducks on 400 acres. And he's like, I don't know, man, it's going to be cloudy and the wind's not right. What do you guys think we should do? I'm like, are you kidding me? We've got 30,000 ducks on 200 acres. How do we not kill them? He's like, well, you can't ever just count your chickens before they hatch. And, most of the time we go and we bang them up because of what Ira did, or that person did. But I mean, it's just, people think it's easy just to go kill ducks, whether you're public land hunting or whatever, but no one's perfect. Jesus Christ wasn't perfect. Butch Richenbach said it best. We judging duck calling contest, and like, hell, Butch, that guy was the best caller we've heard all day. He's like, what'd you give him? Like, I gave him a 9, a 79 in the first round. He's like, Jesus Christ couldn't get a 9. I gave him a 7. What are we, and he's right. There's always room for improvement. There's always road ahead of us. And, it's so much hard work. If you want to be a good duck hunter in today's day and age, post the 3 times a year where you actually kill ducks. or have enough money to go and hunt with people who know what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
who are having similar conversations like we're having right now, and go do it 30 days a year. If you want to kill ducks every single day, go to sleep and dream about it, because it does not, it won't exist. I don't care if you're in Alberta, the Pacific Northwest, Saskatchewan, East Coast, West Coast, Central Flyway. I've done enough stuff, and I've hunted other countries. Like, Mother Nature is always going to win at the end of the day.
Always.
And a good friend of mine says it best: it's your best case scenario. You're only one step behind Mother Nature. If you're 2 steps behind her, yeah, it ain't going to work out. If you're 3, it really ain't going to work out. But if you're 1, you got a shot. But you're never going to be ahead of Mother Nature. Never. And that's the whole point, is if we kill them every day, they wouldn't be around. Why would you want to kill them every day? It'd be dumb.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
I think the best example I have of things not going to plan are the first Punisher camp I went to. Where were we? Brockville?
Yeah.
And
in that goose field.
Yeah. So the one guide, like, we come back from the morning, and the one guide found, was what, Sheldon, I guess. Sheldon Evans, right?
Yeah.
He had found a field full of geese, had been out scouting, spent the entire day banging on doors, getting passed from this homeowner to this homeowner, and finally gets to the right guy, gets permission on the field, and it's loaded with birds the day before. We get there in the morning, and like, we didn't even see anything on the horizon. Like there was nothing. Absolutely.
It was a beautiful sunrise.
Yeah. I think my or no, until I changed it to the logo, my hunting Instagram page was still a picture from the blind from that morning. Like, all these years later, it was still that lack of sunrise picture from that morning. But yeah, it's like he spent the entire day and afternoon getting passed around from homeowner to homeowner to find that field and to find the proper landowner, got permission, field full of birds, and to just be a complete bust the next day. Nobody, like, I don't even think we closed our blinds that morning. We just laid there talking.
Yeah. Well, that's just life. If the birds wake up and fly the opposite direction, what are you going to do? You're going to cry about it?
Yeah.
You know what I remember best about that hunt, Craig, is that I knew that it was, we couldn't drive our trucks in to set up, and Sheldon had a trailer with a quad on it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we used the quad to load decoys in, and then we had to go get our brush to start brushing in all the blinds. And it's a fucking like, nobody likes brushing in blinds, right? Like, nobody likes it. And of course, you don't take brush away from where you're hunting, so you got to go all the way away to and I remember sitting in the trailer of that quad and driving to cut brush, and I was like, this is the best hunt I've been on all fall, because I don't have to walk all the way to cut brush. That's what I remember about that hunt.
Man, you guys are fancy. I need to come to one of these Punisher hunts.
Yeah, they're all not like that. But they, but it's the simple things. And I've said this on this show a million times, 20 years in the Army, some of the best stories I have is when things just did not work out. It's when
100%.
It's when somebody is on an hour of sleep. They're all screwed up. They don't know what they're saying. You know what I mean? Those are the best stories. And that's the things. Listen, I can tell you, or I can assume this, Brooke, you've shot a lot of piles in your lifetime, and you don't remember every pile, but I guarantee you remember a lot of the skunks, and you remember.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's just the way it is. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we love it. That's why we obsess over it. And like, you look at, so you bring up Habitat Flats. Look at Tony Vandemore. From the spring until duck season opens, all that guy posts is about all the work that he is putting into Habitat Flats.
Yeah. That's
all you see. There's no birds being shot. There's no pile picks. There's nothing. It is just work, and trying to make that area as juicy as he can make it before the fall comes. And that is the thing. That's the beauty about this. And I think for the most of us, that's what we're striving to hit that level where, hey, listen, I want to get to the point where my job in the off season is preparing for ducks during the season. That's life, right? That's winning in my
and everybody's got different levels, and there's different levels for every class of people, you know, and I get it, but you're only where you are right now. You can always go a direction or two, but just like you mentioned, Tony, the things like Tony does, it's all about the work. You know, the thing he's got in common with the other people on social media that you see killing ducks, and I'll just name them. You know, you've got Rusty Creasy, Coca-Cola Woods. You know, you've got Daniel Duke, Five Oaks, Ira McCauley, Locust Grove. You got Tony Vandemore, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
There's one consistent thing. They work all off season to get it done. And guess what? They kill the most birds. I wonder why, you know. You can say it's because they've got money or they've got all the property or what. Blame it on whatever you want. They're working their ass off and they're shooting ducks every single week. Not every day. I know all those guys personally. They don't kill them every day. But at any given moment, they can walk 30 yards that way and go kill them if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And they probably will, and they could, but it has nothing to do with how many ducks you kill. It's how you got there. Everybody's got a position in life, and what you take away from people. If you watch Tony Vandemore's story or Daniel or Holt Blackwood from, you know, Express Boats, you know, you watch what they've done, just duck management, farm management. If you could take one thing away from them, and that's only, man, I just want to shoot ducks like them and not the other 364 posts a season on Instagram of, God, I need to learn how to broadcast rice or germinate rice before I spread it or flood whenever smartweed comes in. You should be focused on that, not, I want to be like that guy wearing that shirt, running those decoys.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I sell decoys, calls, blinds, whatever you want for a living. That does not make a duck hunter. We make products that help people who have their heart in the right place, that want to go kill stuff, that value good equipment. That equipment is not going to make you Tony Vandemore or Rusty Creasy or Holt Blackwood or Ira. The lifestyle and the hard work you put in, it might for one day a year, but not 60 days a season. That is not going to happen. You cannot cheat the grind. You're not going to do it. I'm telling you, I am not man enough to do what those guys do, but I'm privileged enough and blessed enough to get to hunt with them a few days a year. And it's incredible. And I don't take it for granted. It's amazing. And I don't ever remember how many ducks we shot. We may only shoot 4 spoonbill in a road ditch. I don't care, but I'm going to learn something from them. And I'm going to be able to come on a podcast like this with you and tell the next person, man, if you're doing this or you're hunting a south wind in Arkansas and it's cloudy and you don't want to go, man, you should run some spec decoys because that's some of the best times to hunt specs. I'm just forget those greenheads in the woods. Don't worry about it. Go shoot some widgeon. You know, it's okay. Variety's a spice of life, and you just got to set your expectations. And trust me, all these guys that we just talked about, they all have their own issues. They all do. We're all cut from a different cloth. We're all in different tax brackets, in a different position in life. But the one consistency is you work hard and you learn. All those guys, if there was a way to make things better that you and I spoke about right now, that they could grab a little nugget from and go implement that into their practice, they're not too good to not listen to it.
Well,
but
I'm going to tell you,
a lot of people are.
I had to bring it up because I wanted to make sure. So the 28th of May, I'm watching Rusty Creasy do a video, and he's getting ready to start planting rice. And the beauty about Rusty's stuff is he's not just showing you, hey, I'm putting to work, and he actually explains that, hey, this is what I'm doing and the reason why I'm doing it. So he drained out an area, and he had explained, hey, listen, I'm draining this out. I'm going to plant all my wild rice now. Then I'm going to flood it. And then, you know, I get it down to the, you know, where it can germinate and the whole bit down in the soil, whatever. And then, you know, grow. And I wrote him back, and I have never, ever spoken to Rusty ever in my life. And I just wrote him back, and I was like, man, I never ever thought about doing that. Now I'm in the process of trying to do that for next year.
That's awesome.
of just a little area that I've got. I don't know if it'll ever produce a bird, but the idea of making something is appealing to me. So I just wrote him back on Instagram, and I was like, dude, I never thought about doing it that way. Like draining it out in the summertime in the heat, do it then. And he writes me back like within seconds, writes me back, and he's like, man, I appreciate you for sharing that video. And yeah, this is what I'm doing. And then he started sending me pictures. And this is, to go along with something that you had said earlier, this is all awesome and being able to do all these things, but you got to have that support network, right? So you said, you looked at your wife at the time and said, hey, listen, I got this job offer in Kentucky. What do you think? Yeah, let's go. Well, here's Rusty, doing these videos, and his wife is out on the quad, and she's tilling up the ground and got the spreader on, and he's taking videos. She's doing all the work at this video, right? And it's just awesome. And it's as close to as real as it is that it gets. Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's the beauty about these fellas. And I guess the point I'm trying to make, if you've got a question, ask these guys, because all of these, I've never had anybody like screw me off. They've always answered any question I've ever had.
Yeah. I think that's just your charm, No.
Yeah.
No. And I'm not above hopping on anybody's podcast, but Damien and Craig, I'll be honest, like when you first reached out, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm familiar with Punisher Waterfowl, but I'm like, well, who are these guys? I got to make sure I'm not, going promote some bad thing. And, right off the bat, just listen to your guys' stuff, looking at your social, going to your website. Like, thank you for your service first and foremost. But, you guys are good people. And I could have told you that's the way you would have handled that situation with Rusty. And that does not surprise me at all. You guys are good people. And the people that are doing it consistently, and that's the word, do you want to go kill a bunch of ducks one time, or do you want to consistently be able to go and have a good time and get a good shoot? Mm-hmm. Focus on consistency. That doesn't mean shooting the most. That doesn't mean taking the most people. That doesn't mean having the best dog, the biggest decoy spread, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. Like, all those things are great, and everybody's got a place. But the things that we remember and the people that we can learn from are the consistent ones. You guys are consistent. Your loyalty to the sport, your loyalty to your country, like that is what I look for whenever people ask me to come talk to them or align with them, whether it's just my name or the brands I represent. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys are consistent in your messaging. Like, here's what we are. We just want to air it all out and deal with it. And your moral compass is north, and that's the way it should be. And
thanks, buddy.
These people that are setting the tempo for our industry, they're doing a great job, but people should look at that and not think, well, I could go do that. Who's that guy? He's ugly. He's bald. He's old, or whatever. He's in that place. Just think what we can do here. My daddy's got money. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You put the work in and you live with that mentality for more than 60 days a season. Mm-hmm. You take a huge step. And that was just like me. It wasn't just 60 days a season or 80 days. It was Buck Gardner offered me to blow a duck call, get interested in competition duck calling. Then all of a sudden duck season was year round. And I got to meet these people, the Jimbos, the Butches, the Bucks, the Charles Petty, all these people. But I never was too good for anybody.
Yeah.
No one listening. I don't care if you're Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. I don't care who you are. If you're wearing a towel in Saudi Arabia and you just like duck hunting, because they do have great duck hunting.
Yeah, they do.
And you think that you can do a better job than me, good luck. You better do it more than one day a year.
Yeah.
You can't cheat the grind. You cannot do it. You guys haven't cheated the grind. These folks that we're talking about who are examples in the waterfowl industry and waterfowl harvesting, they're all one thing, and that is consistent. They're consistently working hard. They consistently care about the resource, and they consistently kill ducks.
Yeah. And one thing I want
they're not lucky.
Eric Massey from Tango Free has been on this show a bunch of times, and Eric's a good buddy.
Yeah.
And, one thing that Eric used to always talk about, and we're talking about all the work that goes into it and all of this stuff, right? But listen, I'm blessed. Like, I'm retired. I done service. I'm retired. Punisher Waterfowl is sort of kind of my gig now. But I'm blessed because of that.
Sure.
You know, you got a guy like Craig. Craig is still working his 40 hours a week and has 2 sons and a wife that's extremely busy. So Craig doesn't get and it's not just Craig. There's a ton of people out there that are like this. But if you only get out once a week, but you still can't, it doesn't have to be every day, even if it's only once a week, but you still put the work in for that one day a week. That is where you get your success. It doesn't have to be every single day and owning 600 acres of land and planting new fields and the whole bit. The consistency and the level of how bad you want to get at these things, it's whenever you can. It's whatever moment, whatever time you have to devote to it. That's what it is. That's what matters.
And I think the one thing I wanted to add to that, it kind of goes along well with what you're saying, Damien, is that satisfaction of just making something happen, right?
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, like I think back to that trip I did with my dad and my brother and my son a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like we went out to Manitoba, did a couple of days guided hunt, which was awesome. We had a great time, and but I think the biggest part for me was the fact that it's like I put that together and like got my dad, my brother, and my son all together to do it. But the key part was the very first hunt was just at Eaton Lodge, and it was just my brother and my son and I like out canoeing, and I'm just in the back of the canoeing around and telling my brother, it's like, okay, we're gonna go around here and there's probably gonna be some ducks, and we're just it didn't matter how many cranes we shot later that week or how many geese or how many ducks we shot with the guide. It was just that, putting us into a position to be able to, and that was my brother's first hunt, right? It was his first waterfowl hunt.
Oh, wow.
And it was just being able to just do that. And I didn't even lift a gun. I don't even remember if I had a gun with me.
Yeah.
I'm just working a paddle in the back of a canoe to help put somebody else on that, right? And it's just doing whatever you can to make it successful, and
absolutely, buddy.
No matter what that success looks like, right? Like again, whether it's one bird on a tailgate in a field, the very first field you get, or whether it's putting somebody else on their first birds by just simply paddling a canoe around. It's just whatever you can do to make something successful. And again, that success, that definition of success looks different for everybody.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right.
Sorry, I had to go grab my dog.
No, absolutely.
Y'all caught me cutting grass, and I had to go get Max and let him out. My pregnant wife's inside texting me while we're doing this podcast saying, "Can you please let Max out?" So,
yeah, well, and whatever you got to do to keep Mama happy right now is that is your biggest priority right now.
Sure.
2 weeks away from having that creature out of her, and in this heat, God bless her, because the female body is a marvelous
okay,
thing.
Enough about her. Let's not talk about how hard my life is. I've got to wake up every day, do what I love for a living. I've got a dog that loves me, and here I am cutting grass, having to do these podcasts with great people.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie.
Trophy husband, gets thrown around a lot. Drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah,
because at any moment I might have to. I might have to drive to the hospital. That's a mile down the road. I mean, I could get on social media and complain about like duck hunting, a decent spot where you shoot half your limit every day. But who am I?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lie.
I don't want people to think I'm not a good husband.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Brooke. There was a little bit of me. Hey, listen, maybe she's in the back and she's listening, so I better throw out some compliments to her just to make sure that
she's not. I promise. And nor would you hurt her feelings. I guarantee you wouldn't hurt her feelings.
Well, it's like I remember when Carrie was pregnant with our first son. It was I remember we went to my cousin's wedding on like a tour boat on Lake Nipissing in North Bay in August, and they had to keep stopping the boat, and like there was no breeze. It was like 30 degrees Celsius that day, and like she was what, due the end of September, and it was the long weekend in August here, which is the first weekend in August. and she was just dying. And then from there, we went to a cottage with no air conditioning, and just same like deer flies, black flies, heat, and summertime pregnancies. I hear they're awesome.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys my wife's phone number. You call her anytime you want and ask her about summer pregnancy. She'll tell you exactly what you want to hear.
Brooke, buddy, we usually keep the show to about 60 minutes, and we're around about that mark right now. And I know you're extremely busy. Like you said, we got you cutting grass. You got the dog. You got a ton of stuff going on, and we won't keep you any longer. But I am going to tell you this, that it was an honor to have you on tonight. And I'm not gonna lie. It's been a long time that I've been trying to get you to come on and being able to connect and get schedules squared away and stuff. So I am very, very happy. And I remember even Craig even mentioning that he was really looking forward to this show. So, buddy, I can't thank you enough for coming on and a great conversation and being able to say all the things that you said, because I think that is probably some of the best words that we can put out there into this world right now is to let people know, listen, just work, and that's all you need to do. It'll come. It's not going to come fast. Maybe somebody is going to get a quicker advantage than you, but it'll come. You just got to put the work into it.
Well, Damien and Craig, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm blessed to be able to come on this podcast with you guys, and I'm just like everybody else. You know, I had opportunities cross my plate that I may or may not have deserved, and I didn't take them for granted. And I just did my thing. I'm no better than the next guy who doesn't kill any ducks. You know, I'm just a human, and the pleasure was 100% all mine. But before I let you guys go, I'm going to hijack your podcast here for a second.
Yeah, buddy, because we never talk. So I got to stop.
I want to know what you guys have going on. What are you doing? What do you have planned? What are you excited about? And Craig, same question. I've got to know.
Okay, so I have not put this out into the world. Craig knows, a couple people know. So I am very, very fortunate that the end of August, I am packing up. I've got a very supportive wife that is allowing me to do this. My kids are 18 and 15, so I can. I am heading out to Alberta the end of August, and I am going to go out and work for Claudio Ongaro from Ongaro's Lodge.
Heck
yeah, buddy.
Smash, bud.
Good.
Have fun shooting all those snow geese over clones. You're going to crush them. Oh, my God.
So we've been, Claudio and I have been a few weeks now going back. Originally, I was going to go to Saskatchewan. But that didn't work out. So Claudio and I have been chatting the last couple weeks. So he was like, "Are you going to guide?" I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not guiding. I'm 47 years old, dude." I'm like, "I'm not guiding." I said, "But if you need a dude that can do jack of all trades, master of none," I'm like, "I'm your dude." And he was like, "That's exactly what I need out here." So I'm heading out there. I'll work and hunt from the 1st of September until the first week in November, and I am stoked about it. So, Craig,
hell yeah, Claudio's an awesome guy. I've never met Claudio, but we've got a mutual partner, Heavy Shot.
Yeah,
and we used to run their social media, and I was, getting fed Claudio's content. Bud, he is a killer. Tell him buddy. I said I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah,
I might wear a wig and book a hunt and show up just so I can hang out with you and Claudio and go kill.
Yes,
Alberta is absolute tits. You're going to smash them. Do not pass it up.
No,
you're going to crush them, man. You're going to crush them. Yeah.
Craig, beat that.
I can't.
Craig's coming. Craig's coming to Kentucky. We're going to go shoot some coots out in the swamp. I got you, Craig. I'll show you how to catch some crawfish.
That sounds amazing, because
that sounds like a good plan too.
For the fall. I'll probably be doing something cool in the fall because it's my wife's 40th birthday and our 10th anniversary. So there'll probably be something. Her and I usually book at least one guided hunt in the fall. She waterfowls too. But awesome. Nothing planned yet, but I'm open to absolutely anything. Any invites? I'm going to throw it out to everybody on YouTube. You want to invite me to something? I almost never say no.
Yeah.
But yeah,
truck well travel.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
I want to put in some time around here, and
of course.
I lost a field last year, got a new one, and is still just trying to get permissions and just working at my own game, just trying to figure out what's what and get out, just aiming to get out a little bit more.
You know what the coolest part about that is Damien's got a really cool thing planned, but yours is liable to be just as fun.
Oh yeah, it is.
As long as it's fun for you. You can do whatever you want, be who you want to be. You don't have to have a trip booked with a personality up in Alberta. You can just be open. And Craig, I challenge you, when your phone rings and someone listens to this and invites you to what you think is a bad hunt, but allows you to take your wife, bring her, and go have fun.
Yeah.
Because you might have way more fun than Damien shooting 343 snow geese in an afternoon. I mean, God.
Well, so when you said coots, all I could think, Damien, was well, we got to get Stephen Horst out there.
Stephen Horst and Logan McNulty.
Go smash some.
I've got to. I'll end life with this. One of my neighbors, and I won't say where I live, outside of the town I live in, had a groundhog problem. My wife thinks they're cute. She hunts too, and I won't shoot them in my yard, but he wanted one gone. It was messing up his yard. So I told him, man, I've got a pellet gun. I'll shoot it. It's legal. And I drove on my electric scooter. I'm a big bad duck hunter. Everybody sees me on social media. I drove my electric scooter to the middle of my subdivision with a pellet gun, a Benjamin Phoenix, and trained this groundhog for 13 days in a row to not be scared of the sound of my electric scooter, for me to get within 30 yards of him, and shot him, brought him home, called the local game warden, who's one of my best friends. His dad owns a meat market, loves smoked groundhog. These people in Kentucky are wild. They even dance with snakes in church. I cleaned a groundhog, and I'm a Cajun. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
He wanted it, and I knew I had a place to bring it. I don't like killing stuff, to not do anything with it, but I shot a groundhog on my electric scooter 2 days ago, came home, cleaned it, and cut my finger. See if you can see it. Cut my finger open, cleaning a damn groundhog. And you know what? I had more fun doing that. You won't see that on social media, but I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance and your neighbor asks to go shoot a groundhog out of their yard and it's legal and you got means to clean it and give it to somebody who's going to cook it, you might end up liking smoked groundhog. You never know.
There you go, buddy. Brook, buddy, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope we can get you back on again sometime. This was great, and you know what? I'm always a little bit. I don't want to say the word nervous, but when you bring somebody on and they're with their brand, do they want to talk about their brand or do they just want to shoot the shit? So we did not talk anything about Momarsh or about Higdon or power calls or anything. So this is my excuse now that I got a way to get you back to come back on and talk about those brands.
I didn't come on here to sell product. We're not hard to find. If anybody wants to know what the best decoys, blinds, calls, whatever it maybe is, just go and Google it. I don't need to sit here.
There you go.
We're not hard to find. Go do it. But I'm happy to hop on anytime. It's been such a pleasure, Damien and Craig. I look forward to meeting with you guys. Absolutely. At some point in our lives. Hopefully we get to hunt together. If not, we'll go kill groundhogs. Don't worry about it.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 193 of the Union 0430. As always, we are not experts, just a group of friends that love talking about hunting ducks. Big love. Surround yourself with good people. Until next time.